In the last third of the 20th century, a serious crime is committed every 15 seconds. Now a technology that has challenged space is beginning to challenge crime. Science and technology are being enlisted on the side of the policeman. 21st century devices will make police headquarters a computerized command post. Exotic new techniques will gather evidence where there seemingly is none. This body sniffer is part of a new technology called olfactronics. Miniature devices guard against criminal intrusion and protect the citizen and his property. For despite the gleam and glisten of tomorrow, crime and the criminal in both old and new forms will be very much with us in the 21st century. A society that would place a man on the moon must also develop a technology that will protect its citizens on Earth. This is the Chicago Police Department's Communications Center. Here, telephones, radios, computers, and men are meshed into a network that links the citizen in his home to the officer on the beat. From this center, squad cars are dispatched to the scene of a crime within seconds of its report.
The Discovery Company.
This is the Chicago Police Department's Communications Center. Here, telephones, radios, computers, and men are meshed into a network that links the citizen in his home to the officer on the beat. From this center, squad cars are dispatched to the scene of a crime within seconds of its report. Illuminated maps break the city's 224 square miles down into patrol zones. Each light on the map displays the availability of one of the department's 1,800 cars. Calls are automatically switched to the police dispatcher controlling cars in the area from which the call was made.
See a complainant regarding a disturbance, 1011, 1349 South Colon.
4300 South California. Anyone injured, sir, where we need a fire ambulance?
Are they in there now, lady? All right, your name, ma'am? All right, lady, I'll send a place.
Once a car has been sent, a punch card logs the assignment and activates a micro switch within the console to remove its light from the available car display. This is the inquiry station where a police officer and a computer combine to provide information to the man on the beat. The computer serves as a gigantic memory with immediate recall. Queries from the squad car officers are fed into the computer. Is this man wanted? Is this car stolen? These are the questions a policeman needs answered within seconds. The inquiry station does just that, providing the officer on the scene with what police call a quick make. The Chicago communication system is rapid and efficient, but it is primarily geared to patrol cars. One urgent need is a means of tying the foot patrolman into the network. Dick Tracy solved that problem with a wristwatch radio. The Clarkstown, New York police have adopted the same solution.
203 to 218 at first door secured.
Their wrist radio is powerful enough to reach a nearby squad car which relays messages to and from headquarters.
The middle door looks all right also. 203 to 218. That third door appears secure with the electric fan over it's running. Could you contact the owner and see if that's normal? I'll go around and check the front of the building.
218 to 201. Give the owner of the Ace Radio and TV repair a call. Check and see if he has his fan on for any special reason tonight.
Increasingly, the computer is becoming a police weapon. Here, daily reports of crime are fed into a computer. Car theft, muggings, robbery, assault, these statistics of violence. From them, the computer draws a map to show the city's danger areas. Thus, understaffed police forces can still mount the most effective deterrent to crime in the streets. A uniformed patrolman walking the right beat at the right time. In this computer memory are stored the descriptions of more than 50,000 crimes, the criminals who committed them, the weapons they used, the vehicles, even their method of operation, the so-called modus operandi. Eventually, the system will contain information about every single crime committed in the Los Angeles area, designed by the Systems Development Corporation and the Los Angeles Police Department. The program attempts to match the modus operandi, the MOs, of the known criminals to new crimes. In this demonstration, police feed into the computer a hold-up victim's account of the crime. A drugstore robbed by a bandit concealing a gun in a brown paper bag. The computer will search its memory and display past crimes that come closest to the description. Man, gun, brown paper bag, candy store. The officers then follow up these computer-generated leads of the most likely suspects.
With a liquor store, he concealed his gun behind a paper bag in his right hand. It's the same type suspect we want, same basic MO, except he took money instead of a narcotics. Let's try another batch of reports and see what we get.
Since 1901, the loops and whorls that mark the human fingers have served as infallible identification. No two people have ever been found with the same fingerprints. But fingerprint identification can take hours. The prints must be carried from the local station house to the central files. The files, containing millions of prints, are searched by hand and the identification finally made. In Chicago, a wire photo system sends the prints over telephone lines to the Fingerprint Identification Division.
Identification section, tax speaking.
This is 18 we're sending.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
The transmission takes 12 minutes. This has speeded up the fingerprint identification process, enabling suspects to be released or jailed for hearings more rapidly than ever before. Law enforcement agencies are being flooded with fingerprints, and the task of cataloging them, even with mechanical aids, is difficult. Chicago police store 1.5 million prints. California has 5.5 million, while the FBI has 177 million. Eventually, police hope to have a computer that will identify prints instantly. Then a national network will enable local police and the FBI to exchange fingerprint information in minutes instead of the 48 hours now required for a make.
I have a transmission for you on Williams. He's wanted for armed robbery. Thank you.
Modern technology has not only aided police, it has also put new pressures on them. Telephone threats are now an unfortunately common occurrence. Yet the criminal leaves no fingerprints, but he may be identified by a new technique considered as certain as fingerprinting, a voice print.
This is a voice print test. This is a voice print test.
Voice printing was developed by L.G. Kirsta of Somerville, New Jersey, who demonstrates that no matter how the human voice is disguised, it will still be identified on a voice print.
This is a voice print test.
The machine is called a spectrograph. It plays back a tape of a voice and electronically translates the sounds into lines and bars. Every voice is unique because the vocal cavities and the size and shape of the tongue, lips, and jaw vary among individuals. Thus, the likelihood of two people having the same voices is, say the experts, theoretically as remote as the chances of their having the same fingerprints. This is the voice print, or spectrogram, a pictorial representation of the human voice. It already has been accepted as evidence in a number of court cases. Certain words produce specific sounds, which in turn show up as specific patterns on the voice print. An expert can pick out enough similarities in these patterns to match one voice print with the original. There is another characteristic that can identify people: odors. Everyone gives off a distinctive odor that is a sort of chemical signature. The technique of detecting and analyzing such odors is called olfactronics. It may provide police with a totally new tool in the search for evidence. This cylinder is part of an artificial nose developed at IIT Research Institute in Chicago. Inside the cylinder, a stream of pure air is sprayed over the subject. It picks up her distinctive odor, not a perfume or a scent, but the chemical particles that make up the odor which the human nose cannot detect. The particles are trapped by these granules for analysis. Olfactronics may one day be used to identify people, as fingerprints are. It also can determine whether a suspect has handled narcotics and explosives, determine where a person has been, or what he has done. The sample is forced into a stainless steel needle. It is then plunged into a bath of liquid nitrogen, which further concentrates the sample. The needle injects the gas into an instrument called a gas chromatograph. Using it, experts can detect and identify some odors that exist in quantities as dilute as 1 part per billion. One day, a specific odor detected on a suspect's body may be found to match a specific odor detected at the scene of a crime and be as incriminating as a fingerprint. A smaller version of the artificial nose has been designed to detect very specific odors. Called a bomb sniffer, this laboratory prototype will inhale all fumes, but is sensitive to just one odor, the distinctive chemical vapor given off by dynamite. So allergic to dynamite is the bomb sniffer, it can uncover a single stick through the leather walls of a briefcase. The sniffer could be adapted to other distinctive odors, such as narcotics. Thus, detectors may one day sniff out addicts or packages, vehicles or premises that have been used to store narcotics. A meter indicates the presence of the explosive. A working version could ring an alarm bell. Anyone who handles narcotics or explosives, such as dynamite used in this demonstration, becomes a marked man. Even a thorough scrubbing will not remove all of the clinging odor. Residual traces of the chemical components of the vapor remain under fingernails, in the crevices of the skin, and on clothing.
Turn it down, please. 10 seconds, sir. Yes, 10 seconds.
Anyone who has handled dynamite can be detected, even hours afterwards. The vapor is not as strong, but the sniffer can detect enough to note its presence. Even when the traces of a crime are so minute as to defy chemical means of detection, another new tool can be brought to bear. It is a product of atomic energy research called neutron activation analysis. Minute samples such as gunpowder residues, flecks of paint, slivers of glass, bits of grease or soil, too small to be identified chemically, can be removed from the skin with paraffin. The sample is placed inside an atomic reactor. Here, radioactive neutrons, one of the products of atomic fission, bombard the sample and make it radioactive. Every material absorbs a different amount of radiation and gives it up at a different rate. Even amounts too small to be tested chemically, less than a billionth of a gram, can be irradiated. Special instruments measure the radiation given off by a radioactive substance. You measure the radiation and thus identify the material, an atomic fingerprint. This room is guarded by an electronic detection system developed by Sperry Rand. It uses a television camera for eyes and a computer for a memory. In this test, an alarm sounds at the guard's monitoring station whenever the camera sees something that disagrees with the computer's memory of how things should be. In actual use, the guard would not be present, just the camera. The alarm also starts a videotape recorder, which pictorially catches the thief or spy red-handed. The tape can be replayed at any time as evidence. At the same time, the system halos the thief and the object he is stealing with jagged white lines on the monitor. The halo remains on the screen after the thief has fled, which tells you when you return, someone's been messing around. Replay the videotape. Now, watch the left-hand corner of the desk as we try to steal a paper without even entering the office. No matter how slight the disturbance, even a paper clip moved to one side, the halo will be there. The videotape will have rolled. Special alarm systems in stores may one day make shoplifting a virtual impossibility. Electronic devices small enough to fit into appliances or be slipped into clothes may serve as stop thief alarms if carried away. In this demonstration, a miniature electronic device triggers an alarm when it passes a scanner at the door. The radio was electronically bugged, but bugging has implications far more profound than his mere shoplifting protection. Bugging, electronic eavesdropping, is technology's threat to individual privacy. We spoke with a man who is an expert in the business, Ben Jamil.
Mr. Jamil, what can be done today in the way of electronic eavesdropping, bugging?
Everything the imagination can produce, such as the planting of transmitters, receivers, and recording devices in basic, ordinary, everyday items, such as the type you'd find on your desk, on your wall, your drapes, your lamps, your air conditioning ducts, etc. There is practically no place that one can hope to find free of a bug.
How large are these bugs today?
Some of these bugs are small enough to plant in the cavity of a tooth.
These devices can either record on the scene or transmit some distance to be recorded.
That's right. In most cases, you will find that a transmitter is planted into an ordinary looking device, such as, for example, a stapler. Now, in the stapler, there will be planted a transmitter small enough to be very carefully disguised. This, in turn, will pick up the entire conversation, say, within a 60-foot area. And it will broadcast this conversation to a distant location where you have a receiver and a recorder right on the man's desk. We have found, if you'll notice, this happens to be a very powerful transmitter, and yet it will only come to life in the presence of voices, so that should there be complete silence, it will lie dormant. This is typical of the new type voice-controlled transmitters. We have found them on the desk of one of the secretaries. Here again you see with a battery which could possibly last over 100 hours. A very interesting case in a humidor at a local fabric manufacturing company. We have found in the bottom of the humidor one particular cigar, and it appeared to be a little drier than most of them. And upon close examination, we have found a very powerful transmitter capable of going at least a half a mile right here in New York City.
Of course, we've recorded this whole scene by camera, but did you by any chance bug our conversation?
I must confess I did, and I'd like to show you how simple it was done.
Of course, we've recorded this whole scene by camera, but did you by any chance bug our conversation?
I must confess I did, and I'd like to show you how simple it was done.
Bugs can not only hear, they also can be used to obtain constant position reports. Hidden beepers attached under the fender, as demonstrated here, send out signals that can be followed and tracked at distances up to 2 miles. A police car can stay far enough behind to keep from being spotted and at the same time follow a suspect with complete accuracy. The hidden beeper keeps it right on the trail. The use of some of these highly effective electronic devices for surveillance and eavesdropping is being challenged in the courts. At the moment, the controversy is focused on police and government use of the bug. But the hardware of bugging is cheap, available, easy to install, and not yet illegal to the public. Wives can spy on husbands, businessmen on their competitors, employers on their employees, and in most cases it is done within the framework of present-day laws. Other technologies also are being harnessed to police use. One chemical device called Mace has stirred controversy. Bernard Carey of the Cook County Sheriff's Office explains its use.
It contains a non-lethal tear gas type solution, which can be sprayed in a directional manner, such as this. This may well become one of the most important parts of your arsenal. Obviously, this is a demonstrator model, which contains only water, or we wouldn't still be standing here after I made that squirt, because this causes fumes, tear gas type fumes, which can cover quite an area. In fact, let me warn you, if you've just squirted one or two people with this thing, be careful about putting them in the squad car, or you may have to drive with your head out the window. Lieutenant Ducharme is going to give you an actual demonstration of the effects of this chemical mace. And then you will be able to use it. You've been issued it, and we expect that you will use it with discretion, use it wisely, but use it effectively.
All right, fella.
When I first got hit, my face started burning quite a bit, and then my first reaction was to grab my face and try and clear my eyes, because it was in my eyes, and then some got in my mouth, and I tried spitting it out. And you just can't explain it. It burns your face, it burns your eyes. You can't do anything, really.
Used in some street riots, mace may not remain in the police arsenal. The NAACP claims it causes permanent harm and has threatened injunctions against its manufacture and use. The chemical mace is aimed primarily at the individual offender. Another anti-riot weapon is foam. At the Walter Kidd Company in Belleville, New Jersey, foam, first developed to fight fires, is being tested as a means of riot control. In this demonstration, the two generators each pour out 5,000 cubic feet of foam per minute. Within 3 minutes, a wall 10 feet high will barricade the street against a rioting mob. Light enough to permit breathing, the foam makes running and even walking extremely difficult. It is made from a detergent and contains nothing harmful to human beings. Police officials are considering the addition of something to give the foam a punch. Some want to put a liquid form of tear gas into it. Others call for a harmless skin dye that would stain rioters and make them immediately recognizable to police for days thereafter. Crime is usually considered a big city problem. Now suburbia is feeling the impact of soaring crime rates. Lakewood, California uses helicopters the way most cities use prowl cars. Called Project Skynight, the Lakewood experiment links the car on the ground with the policeman in the air. This is a police demonstration of how it would work.
White, 5'10", wearing a plaid shirt and dark trousers. Skynight.
Skynight to 136, we have a vehicle down here running with no lights. Can you come down and check it out?
136 is Skynight. We're rolling from Compton and Downey.
Skynight 10-4. The vehicle is now northbound under the apartments just south of the dairy and is approaching Rosecrans. The vehicle is now turned on to Rosecrans and turned on its lights. 10-4.
136 is Skynight. That's 10-4. Give me a vehicle make, please, in color.
It's a white vehicle. It appears to be a late model 66 or 67.
The technology of the 21st century will not, by itself, eliminate crime. Crime is often bred in slums, in despair, in unequal rights. But crime, whether it springs from the slag heaps of the slums or the affluent green lawns of the suburbs, must be controlled. 21st century technology must be aimed at the sources of crime, as well as at the criminals who commit it. Only then will the new weapons and tools of law enforcement be effective in the battle against crime.
Sky Knight, I have them now. I'm going to effect the stop.
10-4-3, we'll hover back till we hover overhead till we get a code 4.
Put your hands on your head. Now listen carefully. I want you to...
The 21st Century was brought to you by Union Carbide. The Discovery Company.